Hi everyone! So a lot of you guys already know that I go to a summer camp every summer in Colorado. In fact, I'm actually leaving for my last camper summer in a few weeks. At the particular sessions I attend, we focus on learning the legends of knighthood. You know, the basics of chivalry, magic, and the boy who pulled the sword out of the stone. Today I will explain the tale of King Arthur that I was told, and dissect whether or not me and my team believe that this legend truly roamed the United Kingdom. The story of King Arthur is of a boy who pulled the sword Excalibur out of a stone and was named King of Camelot. The story mostly starts with Merlin, who discovers that he has an extraordinary gift. After encountering a crystal cave and finding a mentor in the person who inhabits the cave. As Merlin grows up, he becomes more in tune with this gift and the responsibilities that comes along with it. Once Merlin is around 18 years old, he is asked by Uther Pendragon to assist him with the task of creating a series of distractions so that way he can interact with Igraine, who is married. Arthur is the son of Uther Pendragon and Igraine. Shortly after Arthur was born, Merlin prophesied that Arthur was destined to become one of the greatest kings of all time. So he asked the Lady of the Lake to create a sword, and he would later put a spell on it so that only the person who was truly meant to rule Camelot would be awarded king after pulling out the sword from the stone. People from all over the land would come to test their fate, hoping to be rewarded with a better life and a crown to match. Eventually, Arthur decided to test his luck, and to much surprise, he pulled out the sword and was named king. Arthur went on to marry Guinevere, and then shortly after, he created the Round Table. The table consisted of around 12 main knights, with the most notable being Sir Lancelot. Over the years, there has been hundreds of thousands of retelling of the tale that I just told you, and of the events that occurred while Arthur was in power. Some of these stories tell about marital affairs and betrayals of friendship. Others simply paint a picture of a king going on difficult journeys while the queen and her ladies-in-waiting await the tales of their adventure. This all leads to the main question: is any of this real? Was there a real sword in the stone or the Round Table? Did Arthur truly roam Great Britain, or is it just simply a fun story to tell your friends and act out at my summer camp in Colorado? Is the legend simply a legend? To start, I'm going to explain a theory that my friend Teresa came up with, called the Betty Crocker theory. Betty Crocker and King Arthur are both brands of cake mixes or cake flours. Betty Crocker is not real. So, using the transitive property, which is A equals B and B equals C, leaving C to equal A, let's replace the letters with our variables. King Arthur cake mix equals Betty Crocker cake mix. Betty Crocker equals not real, which must mean that King Arthur must also not be real. Now we can determine in a scientifically mathematical way that King Arthur is in fact not real. Is magic real? Merlin is known for possessing magical ability. Different legends give him different powers. Some that we found were shape-shifting, disappearing, casting spells, even climate control. In the story that I told, he had the power of sight, meaning that he could see bits of the future. Another character who is said to have an understanding for magic is the Lady of the Lake, who creates the sword that went into the stone. She is also described as having the power to manipulate water and have other magical gifts. Believe it or not, there has actually been some research done that shows the reality on whether or not magic truly does exist. Even though my Disney heart wants magic to be real, for the purpose of today's video, we are sticking with the claim that magic can't exist, and that magic is simply unreasonable in the terms of our world. How did they know? According to legend, Merlin placed a spell on Excalibur to ensure that whoever pulled it out from the stone would truly be the king. This was practically Merlin's way of making everyone think that everyone had an equal chance. However, if the spell actually worked, then Arthur was guaranteed to pull out the sword. This guaranteed Arthur the crown, castle, and opportunity to create his group of knights. This all works under one circumstance: magic has to be real. Earlier, we claimed that magic is too big of a reach for the world that we live in. So if the magic isn't real, then the protection that would have been on the sword would be lost. No magic equals no protection. Arthur is no longer guaranteed to be king because an ordinary person with extraordinary strength could simply lift at the sword. And there truly isn't a point to having a sword in the stone. Most likely, the first person who attempted could have pulled out the sword, becoming our so-called King Arthur. But the actual sword in the stone isn't the only thing that's a little problematic. The general prophecy is also a little out of place as well. The flaws in the prophecy. Shortly after Arthur was born, Merlin came up with a prophecy which led to the creation of the sword. He saw that Arthur was destined to be king, and Merlin had to do anything he could to ensure that this would happen. Merlin had to find a way to turn a boy who thinks he's a normal teenager into becoming a piece of royalty. The sword and the stone was the image that came to Merlin in the prophecy. It was said to be created after Uther Pendragon had died, and was later attempted by hundreds of citizens before Arthur did the unthinkable. The timeline between the sword's creations and Arthur's coronation is debated. Step 1, Step all, come test your luck at the magical sword and the stone. Is there Pendragon royalty blood hidden inside of you? You'll only know if you test your luck here at the magical sword and the stone. So my question is simply, why did everyone just go along with this concept? Sure, why don't we let a random teenager become king, all because he pulled a sharp piece of steel out of a stone? Did you know that Arthur is supposed to be 15 years old when he pulls out the sword from the stone? That seems to be a little young to be thinking about ruling a kingdom, in my opinion. But you know, it's only me. There are actually many theories that King Arthur was just simply based off of a real-life person. Arthur has been theorized to be about a real-life king and other figures from the Middle Ages. He has also appeared in a number of different versions of literature. In conclusion, over the years there have been so many different retellings of this classic tale, the common denominator being a boy pulled a sword from a stone and became king of Camelot. With our research, we have concluded that King Arthur is simply a fictional character that represents bravery, chivalry, and the unimaginable possibilities that could come if you are willing to test your luck. With the concept of magic being fake, there is not a lot of hope for this exact storyline to have happened. Even the Better Crocker theory demonstrates that it can't possibly be real. And unless historians discover either 1, evidence supporting magic, or 2, evidence supporting the existence of the monarch, then I think it's safe to assume that King Arthur will only be known in folklore. The fascinating part of this mystery is that there are so many plot holes in different retellings. But when you decide to get rid of the magic, there isn't a lot of evidence to support him. However, this was only our conclusion, so who knows what's possible. I always like to think with the mindset that anything could possibly happen. So that's all for today's video on the legend of King Arthur. Now, this video was not a one-person effort. The research, creating the slideshow presentation, and the final conclusion was done alongside my group of friends, Emma, Teresa, and Regan. There was simply some difficulties getting their videos that they created into this video, so I ended up just recording it myself. Please like, and since you're in that area of the screen anyway, why not hit subscribe? I mean, it's right there. And I hope you guys stay your extraordinary selves.